region. We have invested a lot of money in education, in health, and in the availability of water supply. The Minister of Works, Innocent Bashungwa, affirms the government's commitment. Buguno, passing through to Ndunguti, Lumanga, Kalama, and towards Sibiti, and connects Singida with Simiyu region. Honorable President, the gift you gave the people of Singida is the 10 kilometers startup.
The Minister for Transport, Professor Makame Mbarawa, says ports play a key role in the intra-African trade, and Tanzania is committed to expand its regional trade. He made the remarks during an occasion of the Tanzania Ports Authority (TPA) opening an office in Zimbabwe's capital, Harare, to serve the growing market. Here are more details.
Speaking during the official launch of the office, Professor Mbarawa says the opening of the office will improve business and facilitate the economic growth of both countries.
The government of the United Republic of Tanzania believes that the port infrastructure and efficiency are key pillars of ensuring businesses between our two countries.
He adds that the government of Tanzania is committed to enhance port operations and offer the most. Secretary Engineer Joy Makumbe insists the decision to be well calculated.
The presence of the Tanzania Ports Authority in Zimbabwe cements the government's strategy to become a land-linked nation, as our importers and exporters can be assisted with compliance issues when importing or exporting their goods through the port of Darusalam.
The TPA Deputy Director General Engineer Juma Kijavara says the move takes TPA's services closer to the Zimbabwean business community.
For 45,000 vehicles destined to Zimbabwe has passed through Darusalam port. This has been facilitated by the presence of our dedicated rural terminal.
The Harare office becomes TPA's 6th liaison office to be established outside the country, aiming to facilitate port operations and trade in the landlocked countries in East and Southern African regions.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and East African Cooperation, January Makamba, has arrived in Algeria ready to attend the 20th meeting of African and Nordic foreign ministers that will be held from 16th to 18th October 2023 in Algiers, Algeria. Upon his arrival in Algeria, Makamba was received by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Community Abroad, Lunes Magramane. The meeting involves 5 Nordic countries, which are Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway and Iceland, as well as 25 African countries. The series of meetings between African and Nordic countries started in 2000, where in 2001 the first meeting was held in Sweden and thereafter has been held alternatively between the Nordic and African countries. Tanzania did host the 18th Nordic African meeting in 2019, where 34 African countries participated in the meeting. Tanzania is one of the best friends of the Nordic countries and has been participating in the African Nordic Foreign Ministers meetings. The 2022 meeting between African and Nordic countries was held in June 2022 in Helsinki, Finland. Beneficiaries of the Tanzania Social Action Fund, TASA, in Iringa district continue to change their lives, as many of them are now engaged in livestock keeping and agriculture. TBC News witnesses some of the beneficiaries of Nyamahana village in the district engaging in these activities, and now their children are able to get full nutritious meal. Here is the report by Irene Mokalinga, read by Kanki Mwaigomole.
The cattle belongs to one of the beneficiaries of TASA, who started with just 2 goats and now has 21 goats. Agnes Mwakamkali, who also engages in mat and basket weaving, is the one who owns the cattle and the goats.
Through TASA, we have decided to save up, since it will also help us in agricultural production.
The hut you see before receiving TASA's financial support, and this is after.
Nashukuru sana
I think TASA a lot helping me. I was living in a difficult condition. I was living in a mud house, and now I have built this house at a cost of 1 million.
I find another beneficiary who focuses on agriculture.
The TASA project has helped to improve my life. I have bought cows and I sold them, and then I bought a piece of land and built a house. So I'm grateful that I'm now living in a nice house. I really thank TASA, and I have cultivated 1 hectare of walnuts at the farm.
One of the Nyamahana local government leaders, Happiness Samakuru, acknowledges the changes that TASA has been making to the people.
Out of the 106, 27 are the targeted ones who were involved in the project's activities that has been brought by TASA. We also thank TASA for bringing tools. We had the road construction project, which has already been completed. So it is one of the things that we have benefited from TASA.
Slowly, the lives of the people in rural areas continue to improve, and this is evident to the residents of Nyamahana, whose lives have been changed by TASA.
Minister of State Office of the President, Finance and Planning, Zanzibar, Dr. Saadim Kuya Salum, who leads the Tanzanian delegation at the annual meetings of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has met and held talks with the World Bank Managing Director for Operations, Ana Berdi, in Marrakech, Morocco. The two leaders have discussed various issues, including the preparation of the 20th International Development Association IDA 20 medium-term review that will be held in Zanzibar from December 6th to 8th this year, involving more than 250 delegates from about 100 countries. On the other hand, the World Bank leader has thanked Tanzania for making the African Heads of State Human Capital Development Summit a success. She promises to cooperate with Tanzania to ensure the country deal with the climate change. The University of Darusalam has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with Credit Info, an organization that provides service for credit information and risk management solutions worldwide. Among other things, the MOU aims at increasing the knowledge of collection and analysis of credit information to students of the university. The event was held in the University of Darusalam, whereby the Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor William Anangisye, says the move comes at a time when the University of Darusalam is continuing with its curriculum review.
Our purpose extends beyond producing graduates. It is about creating a society that values education, knowledge, and collaboration. The impact of our partnerships and the achievements of our students will reverberate beyond the walls of these institutions, touching lives and influencing positive changes. I want to express my deep appreciation for the Memorandum of Understanding we signed and exchanged hands today. The agreements with the Credit Info and TIB Rasilimali Bank mark a new defines of our classrooms and academic institutions.
The agreement will involve research on business and credit issues, publishing, as well as providing hands-on training to students.
We expect to participate both institutions in areas of research, publications, as well as the setting up of some of the internship programs, just to facilitate graduating students to be able to acquire the necessary skill sets, especially in the areas of data science and analytics.
The Minister of State, President's Office responsible for economy and investment in Zanzibar, Mudrik Ramadan Soraga, says the use of the Blue Economy Information Valuation System will ensure availability of accurate information, enhance development of the sector. He made the remarks in Zanzibar while opening a workshop on the review of the system, insisting the lack of knowledge of blue resources is a major gap hindering the sustainable harnessing of blue economy resources.
Wizara ya Uchumi wa Bluu na Uvuvi.
The Ministry of the Blue Economy and Fisheries, in the implementation of its duties, needs effective plans of statistics and accurate information, and a quality system of supervising and providing information for implementing those targets of achieving the major goals of the blue economy at a high successful rate.
Ya dhana nzima ya uchumi wa bluu na kwa mafanikio ya kiwango kikubwa.
On the other hand, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Fisheries and Blue Economy, Dr. Aboud Suleiman Jumbe, says that the system is used by countries that have succeeded in the blue economy sector, including Seychelles, Comoros, Djibouti, Madagascar, and Jamaica.
Give a positive direction. For instance, by 2020, about 40% of the nation's income came from the blue economy, and now more than 25% of the employment opportunities in Zanzibar come from the blue economy. The value of services, resources, ocean ecology has reached $40 billion.
Unatokana na sekta za uchumi wa buluu.
The system has been developed by the Revolutionary Government of Zanzibar in collaboration with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, UNECA.
5 to 6 things. I'm going to talk about 6 things, in fact. So firstly, what it does, it allows to understand how important the blue economy resources are to their economic, social, and ecological fabric, and accordingly guide countries in policy making. Secondly, it allows countries to understand which economic, social, ecological. It allows countries to be in a better position to judge in which direction that they should steer their blue economy policies.
The Director General of National Insurance Corporation, NIC, Eli Rehema Dorie, says the corporation intends to invent new products and increase usage of artificial intelligence technology in order to execute insurance services quicker. He made the remarks during the launch of a one-year campaign to educate Tanzanians about insurance as part of the organization's celebrations to mark 61 years since its establishment.
Actually, we're a leading company, so we also have a bigger contribution on a bigger cake in terms of contribution of the insurance sector to the economy. So we expect in the next 60 years to build our influence more, our contribution more, and in terms of innovation, in terms of product development, in terms of employment, and in terms of contributing to the government through dividends.
The renowned Young African Sports Club's director, Andre Mtine, insists the club will collaborate with the NIC through Bonanza and other events to educate Tanzanians on insurance.
We are partners. We have reiterated that position this morning. What it entails, therefore, is that we will support, collaborate with them. We will discuss with them going forward what exactly the dynamics are. But yes, we are partners. I repeat, we are partners.
Furthermore, Dorie asserts that the corporation anticipates raising government dividends by 25% to 30%. Before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look at our exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Up next is the latest in international news. And here is international news compiled by Gania Jumbe and read by our reporter.
In international news, Egypt is expected to reopen the Rafah border
to allow people to leave the Gaza area, where thousands of Palestinians have gathered in the hope of leaving the area before Israeli ground attacks. U.S. citizens in Gaza have started leaving for Cyprus by ship. Hundreds of citizens from different countries have also left as the war continues in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has called for unity to defeat the Hamas militants. Netanyahu has warned Iran and Hezbollah to stop testing Israeli. The visit of U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken in the Middle East region continues, where he has emphasized the need to prevent the conflict from spreading further, where today he has returned to Israel for further negotiations. During his visit to the Middle East, Blinken has discussed the crisis with the leader of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, the United Arab Emirates, and Egypt. The Iran Minister of Foreign Affairs, Hossein Amir Abdullahian, has said that Iran will not remain an observer of the war if Israel continues its attacks. The leader of Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, for his part, has said that the policy plans and decision of Palestine represent the people of Palestine as the only legitimate representatives and not the policy of any organization. More than 1,400 Israelis have been killed in attacks by Hamas militants, and more than 2,800 Palestinians in Gaza have been killed in Israel's attack that have been going on for more than a week now. Health officials said hospitals are overwhelmed with casualties as the number of dead and injured continues to rise. Protests have been continued around the world, where thousands of people have protested in Turkey supporting Palestine and condemning the U.S. and Israel. Similar demonstrations have been taking place in Morocco, Tunisia, and Spain. In India, thousands of people have marched in support of Israel.
That was Gania Jumbe with international news. Sports news is up next. The Deputy Minister of Culture, Arts and Sports, Hamis Mwinjuma, says they are satisfied with the renovation of the Benjamin Mkapa Stadium, and now the stadium is ready for the opening match of the newly introduced African Football League match between Simba FC and Al Hilal from Egypt. Speaking while inspecting the progress of the renovation, Deputy Minister Mwinjuma says that the renovation is 98% complete as required by the Confederation of African Football CAF to host the opening match and the opening ceremony.
Kazi imefanyika usiku na mchana.
The job has been done day and night. I assure you that we will have an expected high-quality football match in Africa in the introduction of African Football League. Previous, the light of this stadium was the one thing that had me worried. Each time I watched a game, I got anxious more than one else. So we have new lights that we expect to install soon. There are 350 new lights. 200 have already been installed. 150 will be installed later. But we have already achieved the level of light quality needed by
kiwango cha mwanga kinachotakiwa kwenye kucheza mechi.
The Benjamin Mkapa Stadium have been given the honor of hosting the opening game of the new African Football League Championship, where Simba will face Al Ahly of Egypt on Friday. Well, dear viewers, that's the end of our sports news. We apologize today. We won't be able to bring you the weather update as due to unavoidable reasons. Well, that marks the end of our news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next news bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I'm Agnes Tuniga, and thank you very much for being with us. Good night.